Thank you, Joseph, for making us cry this morning. That was very moving. Joe Lindsley is quickly becoming an American treasure in broadcasting. It was a rough, loud night in Ukraine. Ukraine's top general says Russia launched more than 40 aerial attacks overnight, including a massive attack on Kyiv. Let's go to Joseph. I'm very concerned because I saw what you posted when I got up this morning, and it sounded like you had a tough time overnight.
Yeah, Bob, hello from Kyiv. The Russians pounded Kyiv from about a little bit after 3:30 this morning until about 5:30. This was the most intense attack on the city since those near nightly drone attacks back in May. And it was one of the fiercest, it really was one of the fiercest attacks on Kyiv these past 18 months. In total, more than 20 Russian missiles and drones hit the city in the space of just a couple hours, more than 20, which is pretty extraordinary. And so it was a sleepless night for many people here, including me. We got warnings at about 10:45 p.m. last night that Russian bombers had taken off from an airbase. And so everyone is, sort of a preliminary alert. And then at around 12:30, we had reports that made many people very happy that a Russian airbase in Pskov, northwestern Russia, was hit by Ukrainian drones. This was the report throughout Russian Telegram. And then Ukrainians started to report that there had been a seemingly successful attack on this Russian airbase. Perhaps even Russian planes were destroyed. We still await, many details. I don't know when we'll find out exactly what happened. But there seemed to be an element of panic in the city near this Russian airbase. And it's notable because that airbase is 15 miles east of Estonia, extremely close to NATO, extremely close to that country of Estonia. And it's about 600 miles north of Kyiv, 400 miles west of Moscow. And as the crow flies from the Ukrainian border, it's 300 miles away. So if indeed these were Ukrainian drones that hit the Russian base, it shows that Ukrainians have an ability to go fairly deep into Russia to hit military targets. And so there was some celebrating as people were getting ready to go to bed, celebrating on Twitter, no one was partying. And then we began to have warnings that there were two groups of the Iranian suicide drones already in Ukraine. And that's always an ominous thing to hear, that in this vast country, along the rivers and over fields, these death machines are flying through the night, seeking their targets. And at about 2:18 in the morning, there was an air raid alarm here in Kyiv. And again, in the Ukrainian language, alarm, the word is trevoha, which literally translates as three weights. It means a heaviness and anxiety. But very strangely, that alarm only lasted for 1 minute. And then we had the all clear. And so I opened the window expecting something to happen. And so, thinking it was a good idea to, I was going to go to sleep, but I wanted to hear in case there was any bombs coming my way. And I don't think it would have mattered if the window was open or closed. Through the next hours, missiles and drones were flying in sort of their dance macabre to and fro throughout the entire country of Ukraine, constantly changing course. The entire country was under alert. People in Lviv thought they were going to be hit. No one knew where these missiles were going. At 3:26 a.m., we had reports of explosions in Kyiv. I didn't hear those. And then at 5:07, I awoke to what I thought at first was thunder. And then you hear it again, and you quickly realize that's not thunder. And it was such a massive attack, so many explosions in just a few minutes. And we can listen to a little bit of that, what I heard this morning right now.
Here it is.
And just imagine that one little clip to hear that over and over. At about 5 o'clock this morning, the all clear sounded at 5:26. And now we have reports that at least 2 were dead or have been killed. Ukrainian Air Defense succeeded in taking down each one of those 20 Russian missiles and drones. So once again, a great success for Ukrainian Air Defense. And you do have to wonder sometimes, when we see this great success rate, what is Moscow? What are they doing? What is going through their heads? And I don't think we can paint this as simply a retaliation to what Ukraine did on that airbase, because these bombers had taken off seemingly before. Anyway, it's always hard to figure out why the timing of these attacks. And as I'm walking around Kyiv today, it's a beautiful, bright, sunny summer day. And everyone, of course, is talking about the attacks, but in an amazingly cheerful way. Some people said how they slept through it. A girl here at the hotel, she said, if I were awake, I definitely would have run to the shelter, but instead I had sweet dreams. And, an old lady at a shop was telling me how terrifying it was, but still with a smile and with jokes. And another woman said, only this one word, Strasno, which means terrifying and scary. And so we see, again, the success of Ukrainian air defense. I don't think, based on what I heard, that there were any of the supersonic missiles, because that's the one that can only be intercepted by the Patriot from the United States. And that is a sound like no other. I don't think I heard that through the night. But nevertheless, it was one of the most dramatic and fearsome nights in Kyiv in these past 18 months.
Joseph, how the hell do you sleep any night? I don't get it. I mean, it's unbelievable. Not only that, but the spirit of the Ukrainian people that you describe, finding some cheer and humor in all of this. It's incredible.
It is, and I think when I'm in Kharkiv, it's a little bit. The question of how do you sleep is more difficult, because in Kharkiv, the missiles can hit before the alarm sounds. In fact, almost always they hit before the air raid alarm sounds. So every time you go to sleep, you have a certain resignation. Here in Kyiv, it's pretty reliable that the first the alarms will sound. But especially when people are tired, people sleep through. People sleep through the alarms. If you were exhausted from the day. You can even sleep, as I heard in the stories this morning, sleep through the explosions. And it's, and just be grateful, hopefully, that your building was not one that got hit. And, the reason why people get injured, even when air defense works, of course, is because the air defense is desperately trying to shoot down these incoming drones and missiles, and they break up, and the debris falls. And that's why there are fatalities. And actually looking out the window right now, I'm talking to you from the rooftop of my hotel, and I can see the whole beautiful city of Kyiv. But this morning, huge plumes of smoke on the edge of the city, and so we don't know what Russians were trying to target. But it's it makes people more understanding every day as well, when you realize people are tired, as they're going about their work, and so there is this great sense of solidarity and sort of mutual respect because we've all gone through this together.
Let me close with this text from a listener that I want you to hear, Joseph. I have to tell you, Bob, listening to the singing of the Ukrainian national anthem recently on your show instantly reminded me of the scene in Casablanca where the patrons at Rick's Café broke out in singing the French national anthem, drowning out the song being sung by the Nazi German officers. Memorable stuff. Thanks for having Joseph on every morning.
Wow. And I think that was that when we listened to that singing, that was from Kharkiv when we were celebrating the world record. Katerina Sadurska, she achieved the world record in diving, and the spontaneous singing. Indeed, it is like a scene from a movie. And by the way, Katerina, that she set another world record last week in diving. So she's on fire with that Ukrainian spirit of achieving excellence. Even in these difficult times.
Joseph Lindsley in Kyiv. Joe, do me a favor. Get off the roof, will you? Please.
I will when the alarm sounds.
Talk to you tomorrow.
Thank you, Bob. Until tomorrow.
Thank you for introducing Ukraine on your social media pages. That's very important that much more people can get more information about the situation here and how everybody can help Ukraine to stay stronger and to save all the world.
Что он сказал?
Well, which side are you on?
На чьей ты стороне?
Come on now. Oh, which side are you on?
На чьей ты стороне?